going on, Kryptonians? It's your boy Superfat Cat. Today we're gonna be reviewing Creed 2. I didn't get a chance to review Creed 2 because I was eating some Thanksgiving. So how about we hit a bag of meat and get it started? Hands down, one of the shittiest Rocky Balboa impressions that I think has ever been recorded in human history. People, don't try that shit at home. Bad Rocky Balboa impression aside, today I am here to talk about Creed 2. Creed 2 is the follow-up, the sequel to Creed, which came out back in 2015. The Creed films are basically a continuation of the Rocky movies that came out a long time ago. If you don't know who Rocky is, I mean, oh boy. Let's just say at this point you should know who Rocky is. You should know Sylvester Stallone plays Rocky. Like, you get it. You should know. It's like going into a Star Wars movie knowing that there's going to be lightsaber fights. Creed 2 stars most of the actors and characters that were in Creed back in 2015. You've got Michael B. Jordan, who is back as Adonis Creed. Tessa Thompson is back as his love interest, Bianca. You've obviously got Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa. Dolph Lundgren's big ass is in this movie as Ivan Drago, and also Felicia Rashad. She's pretty cool. She shows up as Adonis Creed's mother. The premise for this movie is pretty goddamn simple, honestly. A long time ago, Apollo Creed, who was one of the great boxers in the game back then, was killed in the ring by a big, gigantic Russian named Ivan Drago. A few years later, Apollo Creed's best friend Rocky fought Ivan Drago in the ring and beat him. He defeated him. Fast forward to present day, and Adonis Creed is basically an up-and-coming champion. He's trying to live up to the name that his father left behind, and Ivan Drago has been training his son, so they decide to come to America and challenge Creed to a fight. So naturally, they both gear up to fight each other, and the fighters involved realize that they have a lot more to fight for. That's essentially the plot of this movie. I was a huge fan of Creed back in 2015. It was one of my favorite films of that year. I was very much excited and looking forward to Creed 2, even though it's not directed by the same guy. Ryan Coogler sold his soul and joined the MCU. Not that I'm complaining, because Black Panther was awesome too. This one instead was directed by Stephen Cable Jr., and honestly, I think he did a really good job. Granted, it's not directed as good, and it doesn't have the same type of style and the same type of execution that the original Creed had, but with sequels, that's kind of hard to do. It's really hard to live up to the original. So you gotta judge this movie on its own merit, and I gotta say, Creed 2 was an absolute blast. I had a fun-ass time watching this movie. Like I said earlier, if you go into a Star Wars movie, you pretty much know what you're in for, and it's the same thing for a boxing movie. A genre like this, there's only so much you can do with this premise. This premise really involves a young fighter trying to fight another young fighter, and each of them are trying to prove something that can't be proven in the ring. In that sense, Stephen Cable did a great job at continuing to focus on the characters, because that's really what this movie needs to nail down. If they can still feel like real people, and if the movie itself can deliver on the emotion that we're hoping for, then you'll have a good time at the movies, and Creed 2 is no different. The performances in the film are obviously really great. Michael B. Jordan, I mean, he doesn't get enough credit as Adonis Creed, in my opinion. Definitely should have gotten nominated for something for the original, and he should get nominated probably for like a Golden Globe or something in this movie. Same thing I can say about Donnie is the same thing I can say about the other characters. They feel like real people. They have a humanity to them. Character development and the arcs that they go through in this movie, that's what makes it worth it, and that's what makes you feel invested. So when the punches finally start flying, you feel emotionally invested in what's going on. Tessa Thompson is great as Bianca. Again, she's not just the love interest. She has her own story. She has her own struggles and her own personal storyline that she's going through in this movie, and it's the same thing for Rocky Balboa. Sylvester Stallone, he can play this character in his sleep at this point. I really like what they did with Ivan Drago and his son. Now, first of all, let's talk about his son. His son is a beefcake. They were trying to recreate the physicality and like the intimidation factor that Ivan Drago himself had back in the day. Mission accomplished, because this dude is just huge. This dude is just larger than life. He's bigger than the Thanksgiving ham I had this past weekend. Look at this thing. You see this? This is 100% genuine Thanksgiving ham. Now picture this, but like everywhere on the human body. Like his entire body looks like this. If we're gonna stay with the Thanksgiving metaphor, you take one look at that guy, he's a full stomach. That's basically what it is. But more importantly than the physicality he brought to the role, I really like the writing for Ivan Drago and his son. It would have been easy just to make them the generic disposable Russians, but that's not what they decided to do in this movie. They actually gave Ivan Drago and his son character. They gave them backstory, and they gave them a reason for doing what they're doing. Not just generic Russian who goes, American, I don't like that he beat us all those years ago. I am going to fight him and we are going to win. Brush the hair on your back with a steak knife and let's go kill this man. Would have been easy to go that route, but no, they actually did a good job of making me feel invested in the Dragos and their storyline. Granted, you don't necessarily feel sorry for them, but you at least understand them. High marks to the musical score and the soundtrack in this movie. Like the musical score and the soundtrack, it's one of those soundtracks that just gets you hyped for every single moment that they're trying to hype you for. Whenever a fight's about to go down, it's the kind of music that just gets in you, and it's just really intense. It's just one of those things, you pop the music music in, and you just get hyped no matter what you're doing in life. Boxing scenes are really intense. They're really hard hitting. I really like the way the camera work accentuated and emphasized the blood and the sweat and everything that was going on. The close-ups in this movie, very effective. Like I said, it's a movie that you kind of know what you're getting in for, and as a result, it can feel kind of formulaic at times. Doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to be bored. It just means that the movie doesn't really offer anything new. It doesn't really push the genre in any new way. A lot of things that happen in this movie are very transparent, very predictable. Maybe if you were looking for something new, you might get bored. Also, this isn't really something I can hold against this movie, but if you're comparing it to the first one, I just feel like the first one was executed better from a directing standpoint. Creed 2 was a blast. I enjoyed every single minute of it, and I enjoyed that Thanksgiving ham and all the other food that I stuffed my face with over this weekend. Just in case you guys were curious, yes, I did give birth. My food babies are healthy and happy. They weighed like 10 pounds, 12 ounces or something like that. Just because I'm honest and I care about you guys, and I know that you guys care about my pregnancy and the labor that I went into. So, you know, from me to you. Creed 2 was awesome. I'm not quite going to give it my highest rating, but it definitely gets close. I'm going to put it in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. Alright, so guys, Creed 2, have you seen it? I bet you have. What did you think about it? Put your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Stay tuned for more videos. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show. And as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.